Hello YouTube, this is another video by 321 Lucas, and today we'll be discussing about types of space stations. So shall we get started? So today we'll be discussing about types of space stations, and their advantages and disadvantages. We'll also talk about all the history of them, and all the stations that have been in their classified order. So shall we get started with the first? So the first space station is a monolithic space station. A monolithic space station is a space station that has only one piece, though from the word monolithic, which means a singular structure. So the first monolithic space station was the Salyut 1, which was launched by the USSR, which was also the first space station, and was launched on April 19th of 1971, and was followed by 6 other Salyut space stations lasting from May 28th of 1973 to April 19th of 1982. Then the US launched the Skylab on May 14th of 1973, and was the first US space station, and was re-entered to Earth on July 11th, 1979. And a few years later, the Soviets launched the Salyut 6 and 7, which was the end of the Salyut program, and were launched and designed for crews to spend up to 90 days in there. And those two space stations were the last to be in service, with Salyut re-entering the atmosphere on February 7th, 1991. The next type of space station is a modular space station. A modular space station is a space station made up of different modules. That means that the modules can be added or removed. So if a module is broken down or needs repairs, it can be separated and can be fixed, while the other modules can be in operation. Or if the space station needs a new module, they can send up a rocket and add the new module. So that's really the advantages. But in order to do that, you would have to launch multiple rockets, which is very expensive, and you have to spend many days to attach the modules to the space station. And that's the disadvantages. So let's continue with this. So the first modular space station was the Mir space station, which was once again made by Soviets, and had its modules launching from February 20th, 1986 to April 23rd, 1996. And the station had in total 7 different modules, each with its own unique purpose, and was used both by the US and the Soviet Union, and was re-entered into the atmosphere of March 23rd, 2011, near the Fiji Islands. Then there was the ISS, which was a collaboration between 15 different countries, and had its first module launched on November 20th, 1998, and is still having modules launched, but has its fate unknown. And then the Chinese launched their Tiangong program, launching with Tiangong 1 in June 2011, with more stations to come. But last but not least, let's get to the next type of So for the last type of space station, we got the inflatable space station. An inflatable space station is a space station that can inflate. That means you can send a rocket up into space, and then once in space, can inflate the space station. That means you can have a giant space station made by a small amount of space. And the fabric used to inflate it can also provide protection from solar radiation. So there's not many disadvantages though, due to the space station being rather new. But there are a few concepts, however. Since the idea of an inflatable space station is rather new, there hasn't been an inflatable space station. But that doesn't mean there has been any prototypes and future plans. The company Bigelow Aerospace has already made a prototype module for the ISS and is making large-scale prototypes for NASA's Artemis program, and there has been plenty of proposals made by NASA to make them a reality. And that's it for inflatable space stations. In summary, there has been many different types of space stations, each with its own unique advantages and disadvantages, and has been used all throughout history by different countries. See you next time at 321 Lucas. Now don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It'll be rest of you to my channel.